Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to be discussing 5 things that I think crit racing needs in 2024. Okay, first off, before we begin, most of the things on my list are not original. I'm borrowing and stealing from other sports, seeing the things that they have in place, and saying, I think crit racing would be better if we employed those things. So if you're looking for all new, totally original ideas, maybe go look somewhere else. This is about adapting things that mostly are in place in other sports and using it in crit racing to make our sport better. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's move on. Number 1 on my list is names on jerseys. Baseball, football, basketball, motocross, so many sports have at least the last name of the individual on the jersey. I think our sport would be much better off by having identification on the back of our jersey, both from a spectator standpoint and from a racer standpoint. I believe they did this with the Into the Lion's Den thing. At this point, I think the right move is for teams to just start doing it. So we don't need to have any ruling or anything like that. It's just go and get your name put on your jersey and run it on race day. And if everyone does that, bam, it's done. Great, awesome. So this one's on us. Let's put our names on our jerseys, make ourselves identifiable both to our teammates as well as to our competitors and to spectators. It'll be good for the sport overall. Number 2 is a consistent race number for the duration of the season. I know that this is a little tricky to implement and there's many ways you could do it, but the idea of having points in a series or in an overall seasonal based basis result in a number that is tied to how many points or how well you did in your class would be super helpful. Now, I know people move up and down in classes, mostly up, and it wouldn't be perfect every year anyway. But the idea is if you're someone who is racing in a consistent class, maybe for 3 years, wouldn't it be nice to have your points totaled up from the previous season and actually have yourself ranked? Like, be able to have a number and wear number 25 all season long, knowing that you earned that number. Maybe that number's higher. Maybe that number is number 2, right? Maybe I'm the number 2 Cat 3, right? I points wise, I'm ranked number 2 in the Cat 3 category in my district. Maybe let me wear number 2 for the whole race season that year. And if I move up, we can figure it out. But the idea is I should wear the number that reflects my performances from the previous year if I'm in the same class. I think this would be really good, both for riders to have incentive to come out and wear a number with pride, and then secondly, it also helps competitors identify who did really well last year, and maybe I should mark them out. They're wearing a really low number, indicating that they have put in the time and have gotten results. That's number 2 on my list. Number 3 is color-coded numbers for all the riders. This is especially useful in mixed category classes. So if I'm in a P123 race, wouldn't it be nice if the background for the numbers was color-coded to the class? Maybe P1 is yellow, P2 is red, P3 is blue. So helpful. Now, if I'm in the P2 class, I'm primarily looking for red bibs and red bibs to follow and marking people out based on that color. I don't need to see the number on the side of their jersey specifically while completely in the red with a heart rate of 182 BPM and try to decide, am I going to stick with them or am I going to let them go? Where's my competition, right? Making it easier for us to identify who's in what class mid-race as riders is helpful, and is helpful for spectators because they can then filter as well and know, hey, the rider I'm looking for is wearing a blue bib. I can quickly scan an audience or scan a group and kind of pick out the blue bibs and go from there and find my guy and my rider. So that's what I'd like to see, color-coded bib numbers. I think it would be good for the sport. Number 4 on my list is a color-coded flag system. We have race marshals out on the course and individuals helping make sure that people are not crossing at the wrong time or corners are covered, etc. Those same people could handle, I believe they could anyway, actually giving riders key information depending on what's going on, right? So in many sports, we have green flags, we have red flags, and even in like motocross and other racing sports, we have lapper flags. So if there is a lapped rider, a rider being lapped and the lead group is coming behind, someone can actually give you a particular flag and let you know, hey, the leaders are coming up behind you. You should probably take a look back and get out of their way. Too many times it's left down to people screaming at one another and chaos ensues when a rider is lapped or overtaken in the events where they're not pulling lapped riders. So I think we could have a more sophisticated flag system: green flag, yellow flag, red flag, blue flag with a cross through it. That's for lappers. All to give us as riders more information and be able to react quickly and efficiently if there is something happening on the course, and it could make things safer for us. So that's number 4 for me. All right, item number 5 is actually a very simple one, and it's pit boards. I'm not sure why we as cyclists don't do this already, but in other sports like motocross and Formula One, in a way, they have pit boards to inform riders what's happening out on the course on a lap-to-lap basis. So a pit board is just a whiteboard with a handle on it. It's not sophisticated, but I can write in a message on that board and show it to my team and give them key information. Maybe there's a breakaway with X number of seconds on it. Lap to lap, I can tell them whether that gap is growing or shrinking, and they can make decisions about what to do in their race based on that gap. Things like even just reiterating how many laps are left, or communicating a plan, or letting a teammate know that they're alone and their other 3 guys have dropped out the back and they need to surf wheels now. The lead out's gone, right? All kinds of information can be displayed and used and communicated to riders during a race with a pit board. They're not that expensive. We should be using pit boards, and I hope to do so with my team this year, actually. I think it'd help us out. All right, I've named off 5. I'm going to give one bonus one. I'm putting it in the bonus category because it is employed in some races now, but the honest truth is the logistics and cost associated with it are a bit prohibitive, and that is electronic scoring or positioning systems. Having something tied to your fork or placing your helmet or whatever it is to allow for electronic timing would be awesome if we could get that across the board. Now, I know that those systems are not cheap, and I know that racing as it is not cheap. So we don't want to raise the barrier to entry even further when it comes to racing and competing in criteriums. But also, we need to understand that unless we push the sport more into the digital space and evolve it over time, it's going to start to feel like it's left in the dust. Maybe it already has felt like it's left in the dust. Anyway, that's my bonus one: electronic scoring, electronic timing systems. We need to figure out a system that is cheap enough and attainable enough. Maybe riders just buy a timing chip for the whole season and it's associated with them. Maybe they rent it for a day. We can figure it out, though. It's been done before. It'd be great to see this put into place across many, many races. At least here in NorCal, we have very few like this, and we rely solely on the numbers on the side of the jersey and cameras that are on the side of the road. So, that's it. That's my top 5 plus 1 thing that I would like to see in crit racing in 2024. Let me know what you think. Did I miss anything? Is there something you feel we should add to the sport? Drop a comment below, and we'll talk about it. Cheers.